Welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to do a quick walk around and show you what has changed over the past few weeks. Been a little busy and hadn't had time to make any videos, but it's a nice little rainy day today, and so I thought I'd take a quick walk around and show you the progress of how everything's looking. So as you can see here, we've gotten the upper yard backfilled. They brought in a truckload. It was probably 2 truckloads of dirt. It's what it took to fill this area up. So that's about 20 cubic meters. Our plants are doing very nicely. As you can see here, the marigolds have blossomed very well. We've added some succulents and this is basil, some succulent plants just that will be permanent plants. We've added these are going to be cauliflower, and they are looking really nice. They've exploded over the last few days. This is red cabbage. So those are going nicely. As you can see, we have lots of figs popping out, so that is nice to see. This is a new flower plant that we purchased, so that one is the insects and bees really love this plant. They're usually all over it during the day. So we have more purple cabbage and cauliflower, so we've just kind of spaced those in here intermittently. These are also, you can see here, this is also cauliflower. These were from the same batch, so you can see that having them in a pot is not as good as having it in the ground. Our lettuces are doing really nice. These are getting ready to bolt. That's happened just over the last few days. You can see here the little flowers are starting to pop out. We have some of our pumpkins that are starting to actually take hold. It took those a few weeks to get over the stress of being transplanted and not being very well cared for. We have some chard here that is doing really well, and it is so good. I broke a piece off the other day, and it is like it's just sweet to eat. As you can see here, we have one that's suffering a little bit. That's also a cauliflower. That's cauliflower, and that's cauliflower. This is a eucalyptus tree, and this is called a Blutampfer. So I'm not real sure what that is. I think that's just a flowering plant. I don't think that's an edible plant. Let's see here. It could possibly be edible, but I'm not real sure about that. But it's actually just going to be, you know, even if it's just an ornamental plant, we need those as well, just to add color and texture. These were planted with spinach, and they have not done so well. I believe this is a spinach, maybe. It's hard to say. Like, I think this may be a spinach, but they just haven't done so well. I think it's just been really way too hot. I think these other, I think that's a weed. I'm not sure. They've been planted for a long time now, and nothing has happened. We transplanted some tomatoes, and so those are doing well. I'm not real sure what this is. If this is a pumpkin or a squash of some sort. It's a squash plant for sure, just not exactly sure what it is. We've got more tomatoes. We planted some tall grasses. As you can see, our potted plants are not doing well at all. This tomato plant and that tomato plant were transplanted at the same time, and I think it's just too hot. These dry out really fast and just aren't doing well. We've got some more red cabbage. We've got 2 different kinds of lavender. So this is a white lavender, and this is the typical purple lavender. We have a nice squash plant here. We picked off 2 squash the other day for dinner, and that's doing really nice. We've got another one forming. So hopefully this will continue to produce fruit. These are cauliflower and cabbage, purple cabbage. We have some more chard there. Like I said, the potted plants just aren't doing as well. This is all chard, 3 chards in there. And you can see here that we have I'm blanking on the name right now of what this is. Kohlrabi. So we have this purple kohlrabi here. Those are looking nice. This is spinach, and you can see it's already bolting and wanting to flower. We planted those from seed, directly sowed into the box. So the kohlrabi's doing great. This is chard and kale, and we have 1 chard that's doing really well, and the others they're okay, but they should be doing much better than that. So could be soil conditions. Not really sure what's going on there. We've got, this is lettuce that we are allowing to bolt and flower, and hopefully we can get some seeds off of it. But you can see how big these things are. Man, they've gotten huge. Our raspberry bush, you can see it is sprouting more raspberries. We've got a couple there on the plant. So those are doing really well. I transplanted this raspberry, and for some reason it is just not looking so great. But I think it's going to be fine. It's just a transplant shock of some sort. It was in a big pot, and putting it into the ground kind of made it suffer a little bit. As you can see here, we have more tomatoes. The banana tree has put on like 3 more leaves. Tomatoes, lots of tomatoes. These things are so good, so sweet when they're pulled fresh off the vine. As you can see, we have lots coming in. We've got a few down here, some smaller cherry tomatoes. I'm not real sure what these plants are. I think my wife planted these from seed. And I do need to come out here and trellis them up a little bit because they're getting a little out of hand. But we have quite a few tomatoes going on those. We have 2 nice big tomatoes here that are looking really good, and lots of red tomatoes, red cherry tomatoes, or plum tomatoes I think are what these are. More tomatoes here. Our onion has finally started taking hold and really looking good. You can see it's flowering, and hopefully we'll get some seeds off of that. Bell peppers are getting really close to harvest. These should be red when they're done, but this looks like the only 2 we're going to get, maybe. You can see here some more. This was chard that was planted from seed. Now this was supposed to be a bush beans and some other plant, but I think this is a weed. My wife thinks otherwise. I think this is a weed, but it looks like it's going to be a nice flower, so we're just going to let them go. The beans, I think these are the beans. As you can see, we've got some stuff going on there. There might be another bean plant or 2 in here, but I think most of this is just weeds. We bought some more grass. That's just going to be a corner plant that gives us some height and texture. We've gotten lots of blueberries. This one is slowly maturing. We've already plucked a bunch of the ripe blueberries off, so those are doing really well. This one also is good. So let's take a look in the backyard. So I finished this area. added the walking stones here, and still have a little work to do on the step. I've just kind of got it pieced together there for my wife to get in and out of her little room. This is all planted with herbs and spices. We've got some onions, some succulent plants that will just be permanent, pretty plants that will add some flowers. But we've got multiple basils, mint, and so those are looking really well. And now to the backyard. This is what the backyard looks like. They came in and used the big dozer to scrape all of the topsoil off, and they mounded that up around the edges of the property. And then they've been backfilling. They've brought in, I can't even count how many trucks and trailers of dirt they've brought in. But as you can see, this used to just be a little slope here, and now we have this large, so the slope used to start about well, somewhere around in here and slope off really steep, and by the edge of the house there it was into the lower part of the yard. So you can see now that it is considerably higher, and they are still bringing trucks. They're saying maybe within a couple of weeks they'll be done bringing the dirt in, and then they'll bring the machine back and start shaping and terracing and all that stuff. But you can see here how big the height is. So they've added, I don't know, 8 to 10 feet in height of dirt, and this will all get kind of pushed around and moved over to the side and smoothed out. I've been collecting the larger stones, separating those. You see way off in the distance there's a big huge pile of larger stones that we can use for planter beds and perimeter beds. My neighbor's also wanting the dirt to smooth over to his house, so that'll be a nice smooth transition here, and we're actually going to fill in a little more here in this really low area. These are all the rocks that I raked out of the dirt that came to the front yard, and so I just dumped them over here on the side, and then we'll continue to fill this area in and smooth it out. It dips down and then back up over there, so he may remove these bushes, but it'll be level across through here. It's still going to be a little bit of a low spot, but I think they'll probably add a couple of truckloads of dirt here, maybe 3 or 4. It's a pretty large area. So yeah, things have changed considerably over the last couple of weeks. So when they bring the machines out to start doing the final work, I'll get some film of that so we can see like how they're doing that. We've also done some work in the neighbor's yard and smoothed out some areas for him using some of the better soil that they brought so that he can get grass to grow. Mostly was just red clay from backfill, so we've been doing a little work over in his yard too to help make that look a little better. And let's take a quick look at the fish. These guys are getting large. I'm not sure if you can really see all that well with the reflections, but I'm gonna do a quick underwater video and let's see how this works. Alright, it's the first time I've dunked that underwater, so we'll see how that water film looks. We've still got just a little trickle of water going. Water has slowed down considerably since we haven't had any rain, which we did get a lot of rain last night, so that's good. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll have an update probably within a couple of weeks.